Welcome to Wildlife Yoga. I'm Jess, and this is a prenatal class designed to help you connect with yourself and your baby at the same time. This class will be geared towards strength building through the hips, so grab some blocks or some supports that can help elevate you off of the ground a little bit, and maybe a pillow or a bolster as well. And this can be done throughout your pregnancy at any time. Just modify as necessary, and we'll go through that during class. So we'll start by sitting nice and tall and find a comfortable place to sit. If it feels a little bit uncomfortable to sit cross-legged, depending on where you're at in your pregnancy or depending on your body, it can sometimes feel really nice to have a block or a pillow that you place beneath your sit bones to help elevate your hips up a little bit. If it still feels uncomfortable to have your legs out wide, you can always bring your knees so that they're closer together as if you're in a kneeling position. So find a place that feels comfortable for you and bring your hands to your belly. We'll just start out with a breath exercise focused on connection. So this is kind of like our box breathing breath. In kids yoga, I like to imagine when you're drawing a box, you breathe in when you go up, hold when you draw across, breathe out when you go down, and hold when you go across again. And this is just a variation that we'll do when we massage our belly. Okay, so we're gonna kind of make it into a circular position, but it'll be kind of a mix between a circle and a square. So start with your hands on your lower left belly, and we'll breathe in and draw the hands up towards the top of the belly, and then hold while we draw across, and breathe out while we draw our hands down towards the right corner, and then draw the hands across again. So just continue this with your own breathing pattern, and if you want to, you can just go with your natural breath. Of course, holding the breath isn't as natural, but if you would like to, you can breathe in for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, and then hold for the count of 4. Or you can do 2 or 3, whatever your body is needing. Just continue this with your own breath pattern that you've decided on. And while you're moving your hands around your belly, now it's a lot to focus on, you can just think about sending love to your baby through the palms of your hands. And you can do this no matter what size your belly is, no matter how far along you are in the pregnancy. Just taking time to tune in and connect to that soul that's inside. And take about 2 more rounds. And when you're done, go ahead and bring your hands right to the center of your belly. And we'll just allow our breath to return to equilibrium, breathing in and out through the belly. Feeling the belly expand and contract. And go ahead and gently release the hands, shake the hands out if you need to. And find that comfortable seat, maybe removing that block so you have a bit more room. We'll just start with some circling through the hips. We're going to be getting really active into our hip sockets, so find a really comfortable way to move here. And be sure to take time to listen to your body. Breathing as you move. And then we'll make our way onto all fours, walking our hands forward, bringing our knees so that they're beneath our hip sockets and our hands beneath the shoulders or a little bit in front. Tuck the toes under and press the feet into the mat to help activate through the spine. We'll get a little bit of equilibrium by just tilting back and forth. Inhaling to tilt the tailbone up, exhaling, tilting the tailbone down. Moving at the pace of your own breath. And we'll come back to a neutral spine. Take the left leg out back behind you with the toes tucked under, and take the right arm forward so the fingertips are gently resting. Now you can take this as far as you would like to. If this feels comfortable to stay here and that's the max you can go, that is totally okay. But keeping this spinal balance going, if you'd like to take it a bit further, we'll start by lifting the left leg back behind, keeping the foot flexed, and then lowering it down. Alternating with lifting the right arm out in front and then lowering back down. And we'll just keep going back and forth for about 5 rounds. Moving with the breath. With every exhale, lift up the arm or the leg. So we're exhaling on the effort. And then inhale as you place them back down. And go ahead and come back to a center place. And we'll try just lifting the leg and the arm at the same time if you would like to try. If not, you can stay in that balanced position, trying to activate through the glutes, squeezing the glute, lifting the arm up, trying to avoid resting down into that left shoulder. Stay nice and lifted. And continue your breathing here. Maybe if you'd like to, you can add some pulses, lifting that heel up towards the ceiling. Take a couple more breaths here. And then go ahead and bring the arm down, the leg down as well. Bring the knees a bit wider and circle through the hips to return to a place of balance. And make sure you go in both directions. Just moving with the sound of your breath, allowing your intuition to direct all of your movements. And then come back to a neutral place. Bringing the knees back to a regular stance. And then take the right toes back and the left fingertips forward, finding some stability here, balancing through the spine. And then again, we'll alternate. Exhale, lift the right leg. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, lift to the left arm. Inhale, bringing it down. Lifting the right leg on the exhale. Lowering on the inhale. Lifting the left arm on the next exhale. Lowering on the inhale. And just continue this with your breath. Keeping your toes flexed, your feet active. Maybe you're noticing some activation through the right shoulder and the left hip, just helping you to find balance. Make sure you stay nice and lifted here. Not allowing your hip to sink down or your shoulder to sink down, but trying to stay in a neutral place. And then make your way back down, finding some balance as we then lift up on an exhale, the arm and the leg at the same time. Finding balance here again. And then pulse through that right leg if you would like to. Staying nice and balanced, pushing those left toes into the mat to help your left leg stay nice and strong. Checking in with your right shoulder, lifting up and out of your right shoulder. And then we'll lower all on the way down, this time taking the knees nice and wide and making a few big circles before we come all the way down into a child's pose. Now in child's pose, we have a few different options. We can have the tops of the feet down, we can have the toes down and rest the glutes on the heels, or we can keep the hips lifted nice and high as you come down. So this will depend on if inversions are feeling good for you, or if it feels uncomfortable on the hips. There's just a lot of variation to think about, especially as we go throughout the pregnancy and things are changing and expanding. And maybe while you're in this child's pose, take a moment to find some peace with that, some peace with the change that is constantly happening inside of your body right now. And then we'll go ahead and come back onto all fours. Now, some of you, if this feels good to stay with the hands planted, feel free to stay here. If it's becoming too intense on your wrists, because we have been doing a lot on our wrists, you can go ahead and grab your blocks if you would like to stay more upright, and you can come down onto your forearms. If you would like to do a bit more of an inversion, or if babies breach and you're needing to work on shifting their position a little bit, you can come all the way down onto the mat on the forearm. So this way the hips are lifted up over the heart. So we're just getting a little mild inversion. Just be mindful of if you need to come out of it, if you're feeling a little bit dizzy as you do that, as our heart is below our hips. That can tend to happen because we have so much extra blood flowing through our body from the very beginning. So go ahead and bring your knees a little bit closer to center. And we'll work on strengthening through the outer edge of the legs this time. So taking the right toes and keeping them planted into the mat, go ahead and maybe shift it a little bit more towards center so you have a little bit more balance. And then we'll take the left leg out to the side, bringing the outer edge of the left foot towards the mat. And we'll just find some stretching here just to start, just getting used to this angle. And then from here, go ahead and bend the knee again, and we'll just lift up here, lifting up through the side of the hip, trying to stay nice and stable through that right hip. And the best way we can do that is really pushing into the mat with the right toes and the right knee. Moving with your breath, trying to lift up with the exhale and lower down with the inhale. Keeping your breath nice and strong, really trying to lift up that left knee as high as it can go. We'll take one more lift up and hold it here and take some little pulses. Lifting that knee up towards the ceiling. Hopefully you're feeling some activation through the right and left hips at the same time. Keep your breath long and strong. And we'll take a couple more pulses and then straighten that leg out to the side, lowering that foot down onto the ground. And then we'll take some hip circles here. Maybe taking a moment to stretch back with that left leg extended, stretching through the left hip. And making sure if you are circling to go in both directions. And then we'll come all the way back to center, and we'll take a few pelvic tilts here. Exhale as you round, inhale as you lengthen. If you are becoming a little bit dizzy, if this inversion is becoming too much for you, go ahead and lift up and allow your body to find some equilibrium again with its blood flow. And we'll prepare for the other side. So bringing your body back down if you need more rest on your wrists. We'll take the right leg out to the side, bringing the outer edge of that right foot onto the mat. And maybe shifting the left knee a little bit closer to center here. And just maybe begin to sit back and feel the stretch into opening through that left side. Wiggling from side to side. No worries if your leg is not straight. We're just worried about feeling some opening through the back of the right leg and some opening through the hip as well. And then from here, we'll go ahead and bend that right knee and bring it down to center. Exhale to lift it back up. Inhale back down. Moving with the tempo of your own breath. If you're feeling it in your left hip already, try to really push into the mat with your left toes to help you lift up. Pushing into the mat with your left knee as well to help stabilize. And take one more, lifting up all the way, and take some pulses. Keeping that knee lifted nice and high, breathing through. Keeping your breath nice and strong. Taking just a couple more pulses, and then straightening out that right leg, bringing the outer edge of that right foot to the ground. And start to just take some hip circles here with that leg extended. If you need to, you can bring your left knee out a little bit more to help with balancing. And just make sure to go in both directions, releasing that tension. And then we'll come all the way back down, rising back up onto the hands if you are on the forearms. Take a couple of rounds of cat-cow. And then we'll lower all the way back and down into child's pose. Bringing the knees as wide as you need to. And then we'll rise up. If you do have your blocks, go ahead and grab them. We'll bring them so that they are about shoulder distance apart. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. We can just bring our elbows onto the ground. We're focusing on opening up through the chest here. So if you do have something you can elevate your elbows on, that will help. And bring my knees in a bit closer together so I can lift up through my hips and then lower my chest down as I keep my hands together, my elbows planted on the blocks, just opening up through the chest a little bit. Opening through the shoulders. Allowing my shoulders to find some rest here. Our shoulders were doing quite a bit of work between those spinal balances and just holding kind of that crawling position as well. And then from here, just gently rise all the way back up. This time we will come onto our side here. So we'll start laying on the right side. And you have a few options here. You can have your right elbow down on the ground. That will make sure that you're activating through your right shoulder, or you can lay all the way down and support your head here. Now we'll take the left leg, bring it behind the right, straighten the right leg out to the side, and we're just activating through the inner part of the hip here. So keeping the right foot, the right toes flexed. We'll lift here, just taking some little pulses, moving with the breath again. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. And you can see I'm using my left arm to help me balance. If you're feeling really balanced and you can just rest your arm up, that is totally fine. But for me right now, I definitely need that little extra support. Just finding that connection again with your breath. Really focusing on activating through that right inner thigh. Breathing in and out. Maybe you can watch your belly as it expands and contracts as you breathe. And we'll take one more lift and we'll hold it up. So holding that right leg into the air, take some little pulses. Keeping your breath long and strong. Just a couple more. And then we'll lower that right leg all the way down. Now this is a really good way for us to practice getting up from side lying. So if you ever are laying on your back or on your side, we want to focus on not crunching to get up, but rather using our arms to help lift us. Using our arms to help us lift, and we'll just transition to the other side. Will help prevent excessive engagement through the belly as our belly is growing, so we can avoid some diastasis recti or separation between the abdominal muscles as we go throughout the pregnancy. I'll just move these blocks to the side a little bit. Okay, and the same thing here. You can also be up on your left elbow if you did that on the other side, or laying all the way down, supporting your head and neck, bending your right leg, planting it on the ground behind you, using your right arm to help you balance. And then we'll take some lifts here with the left leg this time. So exhale as you lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Inhale to lower down. And just continue to activate through your left inner thigh while you breathe in and out, watching your belly expand and contract. And the reason why we exhale on the effort here is because, well, one of the reasons is because this is very similar to engaging during birth and labor. We want to exhale and breathe to work with the expanding contractions that we're feeling. And the breath is very powerful when we can merge our movements with the breath. Everything in our body seems to function a little bit more smoothly. And the opposite is true as well. When we hold our breath, our body feels a lot of stress and tension. So if we can practice mirroring our breath with our movement, then everything becomes a bit easier, hopefully. And we'll take one more lift up and hold it when it's lifted. Take some little pulses here. Continuing to breathe nice and deep as your leg is pulsing. And then we'll lower all the way down. Again, using our arms to help us lift all the way back up. Coming to a nice, comfortable seat. Go ahead and grab your blocks. We'll make our way onto all fours. And again, the height of your blocks will depend on how far along you are in your pregnancy or how much support you're feeling like you're needing. So we'll go ahead and just as many steps as you need to. We'll bring that right leg forward. And now with my left toes planted and my right foot out in front, I'm making sure to hinge my tailbone back so I can stay nice and long into my spine rather than tucking and rounding here. I want to stay nice and long. And we'll just start by hinging back, straightening out the right leg. And then coming forward, opening up through the hip a little bit. And if it feels good, maybe you'll bring your right arm to the inside of your right leg and look up, getting a bit of a hip stretch through here. And then hinging back to Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. So just working back and forth, moving with how your body is asking you to. Opening up through the chest as you come forward, hinging back, keeping that tailbone pointed back as you straighten that right leg. And then we'll just gently switch over to the other side. So walking the blocks over to the side if you need to, taking the left leg forward, tucking the right toes under, and hinging back, straightening the left leg. Coming forward, bringing the hips forward for a low lunge or opening up, pushing that left arm against the inside of that left leg, if that feels good for you. Just focusing on finding that openness and movement. And then we'll go ahead and come all the way back onto our knees, finding a good and comfortable place to sit. And now if you do have blocks, go ahead and grab them. We'll have one block low and one block high, okay? So the way this one works is the lower block, the one here, is going to be right underneath the edge of it. It's going to be right underneath my shoulder blades, right at the base of my ribs here. And then my head will be resting on the top one. So adjust as needed here. And then from here, we'll plant the right leg so the right knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. And then bring the left leg up and over, flexing the left toes. And if this is feeling like enough of a stretch for you, then go ahead and stay here. If you'd like to bring it in a little bit closer and you have some space, you can maybe reach for your left leg and start to bring it up a bit closer. You can also bring your right leg with you if you would like. Just opening up through the glute. And we'll hold this here, trying to find some relaxation through your neck and through your head, allowing your upper body to stay nice and calm, but staying active as you stretch through your lower body. And then if it feels good for you, go ahead and just experiment with it. You can keep your left foot hooked on top of the right knee here, and then just let your knees fall over towards the left side. Hopefully this can activate a bit of a stretch through the outer right hip. Allow your breath to help you sink into the pose a little bit more. And then we'll rise all the way back up. Go ahead and straighten out the legs, maybe shaking them a little bit. Adjust your blocks if you need a little bit more support through your neck and your back. Then we'll plant the left foot, pointing the left knee up towards the ceiling. Take the right leg up and over, flexing that right foot. And we'll just begin by feeling some stretching through the right glute And if this feels like enough of a stretch for you, you are more than welcome to stay here. Again, if you'd like to bring that stretch in a little bit more, of course, if you have room, then we will bring that leg in a little bit closer. Keeping your breath nice and strong. Expanding and contracting through the belly. Trying to keep your upper body relaxed as you activate and stretch through the lower body. And then go ahead and let that right ankle rest on the left knee. And again, we will let the legs fall over towards the right this time. We're bringing a bit of a stretch through the outer left hip. Maybe allowing your eyes to close, finding some comfort here as we make our way towards the end of class. And another option here is to maybe bring a hand to your belly. Just send some love to your baby with every exhale. All the while allowing your left leg to relax, opening up through the outer left hip. And then gently come back to center. Bringing the feet so that they're planted on the mat and the knees are pointed up towards the ceiling. We'll just take a couple of windshield wipers back and forth. Just moving through the hips, letting the knees fall side to side. And as we're drawing towards the end of class, try to maybe come in a little bit more inward. And then we will end by bringing the soles of the feet together, if this feels good for you, in Supta Baddha Konasana, with the soles of the feet reaching each other. If this does feel like too much on your inner thighs, you can always straighten out your legs and just come into a more typical resting stance. If you do feel like you need a little bit more support and a little bit more cushion through laying on your back here, you can grab your pillow or your bolster to give you a bit more support, and I'll just show you what that looks like here. So just grabbing the cushion support and then leaning back. And if you'd like to take some time to focus on opening through the heart, opening through the chest, you can bring your arms out a bit wider so your arms are in a T shape with your palms facing up. And just find a comfortable breathing pattern. A breathing pattern that fits you, not needing to hold the breath or lengthen the breath at all. Just let your natural breathing rhythm return to your body. And with every inhale, maybe repeat in your mind, I breathe in peace, and I breathe out tension. I breathe in peace, and I breathe out tension. And as you breathe in peace, imagine bringing in a warm and radiant light of relaxation into your body. And then as you exhale, release any tension that you are holding anywhere, from your head down to your shoulders, your arms, your back, your belly, your hips and your legs. Just allow everything to rest and become heavy. I breathe in peace and I breathe out tension. And you're more than welcome to stay here for as long as you would like. If you're ready to come out of your Shavasana, go ahead and bring your right hand to your belly and your left hand to your heart. Taking a moment to honor the beautiful connection that you have for only a short period of time with this being that's growing inside of you. Honoring yourself for holding space for this little one, and honoring this little one for coming in to be part of you. Taking a few more big deep breaths, feeling the connection between your heart and your belly. And then we'll gently make our way onto our side, bringing your knees together if they're still out wide. Again, using your arms to help you rotate. And then lifting all the way up to a comfortable seat. Taking a moment to find some equilibrium here in your seat, maybe taking some neck circles. And then we'll come all the way back to center. Bring your hands into your belly. We'll take a nice, loud, open-mouthed Om. So as we relax through our larynx, we also relax through our pelvic floor, and that can help us to relax during labor. So if we use your labor and your pregnancy to find your voice no matter what it sounds like. Let's go ahead and bring those hands to your belly. Take a big breath in through your nose. And exhale out through your mouth. Inhale to prepare. Really nice. I hope everybody has a beautiful time connecting with their body, connecting with your baby. Thank you for being here today, and I will see you next time.